And joining me now is Steve Outhouse, the Conservative campaign manager. Steve, it's good to see you, man. Good, thanks for being here. Obviously, well, you got a lot riding on this vote tonight too with Pierre Poilievre. What's your expectations of where things stand? It seems from everybody here, it's going to be a pretty high score.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the final count is, but definitely it's been a very supportive room. I was connecting with a lot of people so far during the convention. There seems to be a lot of support from Mr. Poilievre, and we're really thankful for that, and we'll look forward to seeing the result later.
It all doesn't end today. It really kind of begins today and tomorrow, right? Once this is put to bed and you get ready for the next election.
It's the election.
How soon do you think you're going to face that particular challenge?
Yeah, well, I think obviously if the Liberals would like to call me and tell me what they're going to do, I'm happy to take that call, but I think right now there's a lot of things that would be appealing for them to try to go soon. It's still early enough in the mandate. There's not a lot that they can say, well, we're working on this, we're working on that, we're looking for a renewed mandate. I don't believe that's necessary. They just got a mandate to govern, but they're going to make the decisions on that, so we'll see.
We were talking to Adam Chambers and Michelle Rempel-Garner off the top of the show, and in the good message discipline that exists in the Conservative caucus, bringing it back to affordability, bringing it back to crime, bringing it back to housing. Undoubtedly, a core issue set you're going to run on. But there's that larger issue set of Donald Trump, the disruption and foreign affairs and geopolitics, where you kind of can't control it. How do you prepare for that after the sideswipe a year ago?
I think with every campaign, first of all, campaigning is difficult. There are a lot of things that are outside your control in any given day. So yes, you do need to look at what you can control and what you can't. Timing is one of those things that we're not going to be able to control. And there are some broader, global forces like Mr. Trump that get up every morning and just decide to get on the Twitter machine or whatever. But here we go. So we're going to be ready to go. Whatever the decision is of the Liberals, whether they call this or not, we'll be ready to go.
How do you even prepare for that? Because I don't know when the next election is going to be, but even if it were to sort of run the normal course, Trump still has 3 years in office, right? It's almost 1,100 days still to go. So he will overlap with the next campaign. So undoubtedly he'll be an issue in the next.
No, that's the reality. We don't get into these elections to because they're easy. We're working to try to form a government, conservative alternative to the Liberals, one that will focus on affordability, housing, all those things that you've referenced already, and crime, and if Pierre Poilievre is Prime Minister, then he will rise to that occasion and meet on the world stage as well. I'm confident of that.
So the last election, a remarkable vote share, 8 million voters, around 40% of the vote, growth in seats, but it became a binary election. It essentially became between two choices. Now, the NDP will pick a new leader by the end of March. Yeah. Where do you need the New Democrats to be before this next election happens? Because that vote split was killer for you guys last time.
Definitely, it changed the game, and I think there's been a lot of debate on both sides of this issue. Are we now in a world where it is a two-party system in Canada, or will there be more of these more traditional splits? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if anyone does, especially until we see a new leader come in and what direction they set out. So we're not going to create a strategy that's going to say we're going to depend on the NDP to do this. We're going to, cast our own vision and set our own agenda and ask for people's support and to form a government after the next election.
So if it does remain this sort of two-party dynamic, and certainly the most recent public opinion polls would suggest that's where it is, the leader-to-leader comparison becomes extra important. And one of the challenges for Mr. Poilievre is that outside of the Conservative base, there's likability challenges and favorability challenges. Do you have to address that? How do you begin to address that? Because, look, people come on shows like mine and say he needs to pivot, he needs to change. His authenticity, I think, is one of the things he leans on and wouldn't necessarily want to try to campaign as someone he isn't. So how do you change the public reception to that while staying true to the guy you want to be Prime Minister?
Yeah, I think you've put that well. When our opponents are often encouraging us to change, what they want us to do is to lose, and they want us to change and pivot away from issues where we are strong and issues that resonate with a lot of voters. They want us to get onto their territory. They want us to do what they do. They want us to package our leader in a way that's inauthentic, and voters react to authenticity or inauthenticity in a lot stronger way than I think maybe even, whether it's someone that they, feel a certain way about or not. So, in fact, it often drives the way they feel about those candidates. So for us, we're going to continue to be authentic. Pierre Poilievre's a fighter. I think we can lean into that. He's fighting for you. He's fighting for Canada. He's fighting for these issues that are important. Now, can we highlight other facets of his personality? Absolutely. This is a man with a family, his sense of humor. I think there's a lot of other things that we can share, and we can certainly be refining our message. We do all the time. But when it comes to this magic word of pivot and change, often what people are telling us to do is stop staying in the areas where you're strong.
Well, there's been that laser focus on those issues, right? Of housing, crime, affordability, and whatnot. But I don't know of a time, Steve, where geopolitics has just driven domestic politics so much. It's like post 9/11, maybe the global economic crisis, but we're in one of those moments. So this is not something Mr. Poilievre focuses on as a core thing, right? And it's certainly where Mark Carney is very comfortable. Do you just keep doubling down on the core issues that was the issue set, or does he need to expand and grow into more of a foreign policy leader as well?
Well, I think it's a both and. I mean, you can't abandon these issues that affect the lives of so many Canadians. I mean, that is really, and we continue to hear that over and over again. So we're not going to get away from that. Are there areas that we can build on the other thing? I mean, the Liberals, we can argue, have the exact inverse, problem where, sure, Mark Carney stepped into that moment. We all acknowledge it, where he came in and a central banker and played this role and is now enjoying kind of going around the world and having events and all these things. But 11 years into a Liberal government, where are we on affordability? Where are we on crime? Where are we on housing? So. Of course, their desire is to keep the focus on that. We're focusing on here. Now both sides have to kind of round out their weaknesses, and I think it's going to be an interesting campaign whenever it happens.
It doesn't seem to me that the Liberals under Carney will cede those issues as easily as sort of the end days of the Trudeau regime, the Trudeau leadership kind of did, right? Like there's more engagement there. Whether their policies are effective or not, I'm not making that case, but they're not going to abandon it like they do play on that field. Like, how does that change the dynamic?
Well, that's to be seen. I mean, you're right. There's certainly been, there was an event or an announcement, I think, earlier this week, but. All these things, there's been no results that people are feeling yet at, in their bank account or in their pocketbook. And that's why I do think that the tendency for the Liberals would be to go earlier, because right now they can say, well, we have an MOU with Alberta, so, there could be a pipeline, but there's not a pipeline yet, so you can kind of play both sides of that. And ditto on these other things about cost of living, where, he can also try to ignore that the Liberals have been in power for 11 years and sort of say, I've only been here for less than a year, and we're launching this and starting that, and it's got to take time to have effect. So I think that's probably why it is tempting for them to go right now, is before that accountability can come about.
Throughout the last couple of months, this is the final point, there's been a couple of defections, and clearly there's some pitching and catching going on. Do you think that is stabilized now? Do you think you're at a point where you've gotten to the convention, the leadership vote is going to happen, things have calmed down there, or is it just, who knows?
I would never predict that. Politics is politics. You know that it's completely unpredictable, and so we'll see what's going to happen. I mean, I know that myself, I know that the leader, I know that the team, the Conservative team that's ready to go into this election, we're going to be focusing on the campaign, we're going to be getting ready, and we're going to be working with everyone who wants to win the next campaign.
It's been 20 years since a Conservative leader has had to face a review vote like this. Stephen Harper in 2005, 84% he got. Also, the only one of two opposition leaders to lose their first election and become Prime Minister in the next election. Harper in 2004, it was Wilfrid Laurier, but politics has changed a lot since then.
A smidge.
Do you think Mr. Poilievre exceeds the Stephen Harper number in this?
I'm not going to predict a
number.
Does
he need to, do you think?
To me, as long as we have a solid mandate coming out of this, which I believe we'll achieve, then I'm totally comfortable with us moving forward and focusing on the election ahead.
Okay, well, Steve Outhouse, always good to see you, man.
Thanks,
I
David.
appreciate you being here today. Steve Outhouse, Pierre Poilievre's campaign manager for the election, whenever that will be.